Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another rendition of Lunchtime Lunacy. I'm David, and this is
Alex.
Alex with us today. So, first thing, we just want to remind you guys we got our different social media accounts. We got our Facebook, we got our Instagram, we got our Twitter account, we got a YouTube account. So, make sure you guys follow us on these other social media accounts. Like I mentioned yesterday, we have a website, RockyMountainSR.com, that I think is going to start being a little more active. So we'll start getting some things on there. Sorry about that. I always throw up the wrong one. I'm gonna have to delete that overlay. Want to thank our sponsors. We got Stokedy Fire, which is a barbecue superstore up in Loveland, Colorado. They sell Rockin' 40 meats out of Fort Lupton. They sell ribeyes, New York strip, flank, flat iron, tri-tip, ground beef, short ribs. They have Snake River Farm briskets. They have Creek Stone pork. Try to say that quick. And then they got Wagyu brisket from Snake Farm Rivers as well. They carry seasoning, sauces, grill accessories, and much more. Check out their website at stokedfire.com or swing by the store Monday through Saturday, 10 to 6, Sunday, 10 to 4. And they're located at the Loveland Outlet Mall area up there. Stokedy Fire just also added, for all you coffee drinkers, the full line of Black Rifle coffee products. So check out their website. You can order stuff there, have it shipped to you if you can't make it up to the store. In other words, go up to Loveland and make a store. And then we also have Coda Bear Creations. They make all the Rocky Mountain Sports Report apparel right now, T-shirts, hats, water bottles, all that stuff. If you're looking for somewhere to get hats or shirts done, water bottles, almost anything you can think of that you can put a logo on, they could probably do it for you. So check out Coda Bear Creations on Facebook. And then one last thing before we get on to the show, if you're interested in becoming an advertiser with Rocky Mountain Sports Report, reach out to Matt Staffiero. And then one other plug that I forgot, July 24th. What's happening, Alex?
That's our remote event.
Yep, Rocky Mountain Sports Report's first remote event up at the Stokedy Fire Barbecue Superstore. So keep watching our Facebook group for more updates on that as well.
Hey, I got a question real quick. At the remote event, are they going to have that Wagyu beef there?
He'll probably have some that you could buy.
I've always wanted to try it, just interested in it, you know.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a rather expensive cut of beef, but it's also supposed to be very good the way it's raised and everything else. So, all right, first topic today, and this sort of came up because we had a Facebook user mention that CU's starting quarterback from last year entered into the transfer portal, and I did so. And he has done that. He's transferred from Colorado to Oregon State, Sam Neuer. So we're going to be pretty young at quarterback this year up at CU. So, I mean, we got a sophomore that transferred from Tennessee. Then we got 4 freshmen. So, and that's it. And the sophomore that came from Tennessee, he's played in 8 games, started 1. It looks like the one that's supposed to be, the favorite to land the starting job and is Brendan Lewis. He's out of Melissa, Texas. He's a 4-star recruit according to ESPN. So that's good that Colorado attracted a 4-star recruit. It's been a while since they've attracted people, that high up. So,
well, and coming out of Texas too, those boys can play football down there. So.
All right, and we got a shout out from our buddy Kurt over at K&K. So we love it too, and we're glad that you joined us, Kurt. If you have any comments, questions, or anything, and we will in the future get Kurt onto the show to join us one day. And just another plug for K&K. Myself, I will be on K&K next Wednesday evening, I believe. So we'll give you more updates on that. And I believe somebody else from RMSR may be on K&K Sports out of New York today or this evening as well. So, Kurt, if you could shoot me an update on that. So, but yeah, I mean, what do you think, Alex, with such a young crop of quarterbacks for University of Colorado? I mean, high expectations for a team, middle of the road, or sort of low expectations?
I mean, it's just kind of hard to have high expectations when your number one position, the better, like the best position in football, is kind of there's just a big question mark over. So, not low expectations. I still think that any one of these guys, whoever they decide to go with, is going to be an asset to the team, and will do what they have to help win us some football games. But hopefully they can exceed those expectations and do a little bit better than we're all hoping. Especially if, like you said, Brendan Lewis ends up being the starter.
Yeah, and I think the battle's really going to be between him and JT Shrout. He's the one who transferred in from Tennessee, and Shrout may get the go ahead at first, because he has a little bit of experience,
Mm-hmm.
But from what I've heard and read about this Brendan Lewis, I wouldn't be surprised to see him sometime in the season take over as the time starter of this program. So he's supposed to be pretty dynamic and a nice dual threat quarterback coming out of Melissa, Texas. So.
Nice.
Anything else CU related? I don't really have anything. I know they'll probably be starting up probably summer camp sometime here late July, early August, getting ready. So I'm excited to see a full season. Hopefully they'll have some fans in the stadium, and we catch a couple games or something up there at the Flatirons in Boulder.
Yeah, I like that stadium a lot. It's real. It's awesome to go up there. I've only been up there once or twice with you, but every time we've gone, it's been pretty energetic. So
yeah, it definitely is. It's one of the most scenic stadiums in college football, I would think. So set up right up there against the Flatiron, so it's actually a really good view. So all
well,
right,
and it seems that anywhere you sit in that stadium, you have a good seat. So that's what I like about it.
yeah. Yeah, that is true. There's not really horrible seating in that stadium. So, Broncos opened up minicamp yesterday, day one. Couple things to talk about. The quarterback thing, and that's always going to be the number one topic coming out of it. The quarterback situation. Who's doing better? Who won? Who's the leader in the race? I mean, and all the local media outlets, they jump all over it, and we're not going to go as crazy as one local media host here went and said that Drew Lock dominated the practice. From what I've read and everything else, all of the stuff. I mean, Lock started out a little bit slow, but he really picked up. So, and what do you think we need to see out of Drew today and tomorrow?
That slow start that you were talking about, that kind of needs to go away. I think that's one of the biggest problems that he had last year too, was getting off to slow starts and then not really, getting started in some football games at all. So if he can eliminate getting off to slow starts and, just having a lot of energy right out the gate, I think that'll kind of make him a little bit more clear cut of a starter.
Yeah, I guess he was pretty impressive in the red zone drills, which is good. I think he threw 3 touchdowns down in the red zone. And this was in 11 on 11 drills. I mean, it was probably against the number one defense. So that has to be sort of encouraging, because the way the Broncos struggle in the red zone, I mean, we need to be able to find something down there so we're getting touchdowns and not kicking field goals, because you're not going to win football games in the NFL kicking field goals.
Right.
So, Bridgewater. I think Bridgewater was Bridgewater. I think we know what Bridgewater's going to give us. He's going to be consistent in what he does. He's not a huge risk type quarterback, I don't think. What do you think?
No, I mean, everything that I saw from him last year when he came here to Denver and we played against them, It just seems like he's going to take the safe route regardless. So, like you said, Bridgewater is Bridgewater. We've seen it his whole career. It's not a risk taker, but sometimes that's what you need.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't think he did anything special in practice yesterday. He hit a lot of short, passes and check downs and things like that. So, but he does go through his progressions well. Like you said, he's not going to take the chances and the risk. And I sort of like that Locke is going to take some chances as long as they're not reckless.
Mhm.
We need to be able at times. Locke has to have that confidence in his arm and in his receivers to take those chances. And I think with more at a time of working with these receivers, working within the playbook, I think him and Shermer becoming a little more comfortable with each other. You know, Here's how I would approach it, and you let me know how you would do, Alex. If we don't acquire another quarterback, and I'm just gonna march on like we got Drew Lock and we got Teddy Bridgewater for our quarterbacks for the 2021 season. Um, my thoughts are go with Drew Lock at first. He's the guy that you need to figure out what he's going to do. I think Bridgewater only gives us 2 or 3 more wins anyway, and it's not like that's going to put us in the playoffs,
Right.
So we need to figure out what Drew Lock has.
Hmm.
And we need to figure out if Drew Lock has that potential to be our future. So I'm thinking you let him start the season, and go out there, and you always have a reliable backup in Teddy Bridgewater in case things start to go off the rail. Teddy can come in and he can get you some wins. Like I said, I don't think it's gonna, take us to the playoffs. But I mean, what are your thoughts on that type of approach?
No, I agree. I think Drew Lock should be the starter from day one. Give him the time. Let him mend those relationships with all those receivers, like you were talking about. I think the biggest relationship he needs to work on is him and Cortland Sutton. With him being out all year last year,
Mm-hmm.
and now he's coming back, that's a big chemistry issue between those two. And I think that if you see something from Locke that you don't like and he continues to move down that path, and like you said, you have a reliable starter. But it's also like I said, I think it was yesterday when we did this show, um, is this is his year, whether he's going to make it or he's not, and at this point, you've got to try, because if he doesn't, then you can move on. And if he does, then great. And now we found our quarterback and we can move on in that way too.
Right. No, I agree 100%. If Locke, does, you know, um, if he does falter, then we do have him. And yeah, this is Locke's last chance, in my opinion. He has to go out there and prove it. But the reason I like Locke so much more is because I think he has more upside than Teddy Bridgewater does.
Me too. I
Um,
think
uh,
his ceiling is way higher than anything we could imagine from Teddy Bridgewater.
Oh, I agree. I agree 100%. So, and we'll look at this one. The other half of K&K says Kurt's always the luncheon. I had that feeling, that Kurt was always always out to lunch. So, and we got a topic here at the end that we're gonna want to get some of you New York guys get your opinion on this. So, if you're still around, feel free to chime in on it when we talk about the NBA. So, another thing, running backs. Melvin Gordon skipped all the OTAs, and it's everyone here sort of freaked out at first, but this is the way Melvin Gordon has always done it since he's come into the NFL. I mean, I think besides his rookie season, he's pretty much skipped OTAs and he would just go work out on his own. They're
And some people
voluntary,
like that, Some people
right?
think that they are bettering themselves even more than being at OTAs when they're working out privately. So,
Right. No, I agree, but the big shock is one. I mean, one, he came in, I guess, in just great physical shape. He looks leaner, and there was one big thing missing. So, uh, one big thing missing from Melvin Gordon. What was that, Alex?
his dreads,
Yeah. Um, Gordon said he's going for a new start, and he decided to part ways with the dreads,
Mhm.
and so he come in looking sleek and everything else. So I think we have a really good running back room now,
I do too.
especially with Javonte Williams and some of the other running backs we have in that room. I mean, we currently have 5 running backs on the roster, and I don't know how many we're going to end up carrying. Maybe 3, maybe 4.
Mhm.
One's maybe a special teams guy, like Mike Boone has always been a special teams type expert with the Vikings. So maybe that's a role he fills, and he's maybe a third or fourth string guy. What do you think happens with Freeman?
He's kind of on his way out, I think. It's kind of similar to Drew Lock. If he comes in and he proves something, obviously he's not going to be the starter. We all know who's going to be the starter. Um, but if he can, earn his minutes and play well in those minutes, we might see him stay. But from his trending progression, it kind of seems like he's not heading that way. So
Right. And then this comment here from Kenny from K&K Sports. He likes Bridgewater because Bridgewater played for Shermer before when he was in Minnesota before he got hurt, And that is a true and that's a valid point. I mean, Bridgewater does know the system. He knows Shermer. They have a relationship together. So, but I
mhm.
just think at this point, the Broncos have to find out what they have in Drew Lock,
Well, and
you
that's a
know?
good point that Kenny came up with. But we also have to remember that terrible injury, obviously. And he hasn't been the same since then. He was an explosive quarterback before that happened, and he had all the talent in the world, and nothing was going to stop him. And then he had that terrible injury, and nobody really ever comes back from that kind of injury because it was a non-contact injury. I've seen the video a million times. He was just dropping back, and something popped, and next thing you know, we're missing Teddy Bridgewater. So
Yeah, yeah. So, but I think this running back room is going to be fun to watch. It'll be fun to watch it develop. I think we could have a very good running back room. All right, let's move on to the Colorado Rockies. All right, it's time. It's almost time to start organizing the parade. They've won 2 in a row now. And our own Scott Cole from Rocky Mountain Sports Report put a post out yesterday. He says, how do the Rockies, and we'll give you a little props there, Alex. How do the Rockies, you know, beat, take 2 games out and dominate a team like San Diego, you know, and then they struggle against teams like Marlins, and it's just that's the inconsistency that we are dealing with the Colorado Rockies. I
yeah,
mean, and I don't know how we get through this inconsistency, but
you start over. That's how.
and is it some of it management? We talked about this a little bit, I think, on our first inaugural show. Is this Bud Black's last season? And I personally think it is. I think you agree that it is. So we'll have to wait and see what happens either at the All-Star break or at the end of the season. So,
I'll tell you
well,
what, if it's not his last season and they continue to roll with this guy, then I don't know the owner's name. I
oh
couldn't tell you.
yeah, Dick Montfort. So,
Yeah. Well, then he has no interest in winning games
eh,
because
and I agree. So, and this is more of a hobby to him than something of trying to actually build a team that could make it back to the World Series again. So,
well, and I said it the other day. It feels to me like he's more interested in filling the seats, which is fine. But if you don't want to be that competitive team, then you have to let your fans know. You have to let your organization know, and really, it's never going to be an acceptable feat. So you're gonna have to do something to make this Rockies team go even a little bit. So even if you're just interested in filling the seats and getting all-star games played here, whatever it may be, you just have to be honest with everyone who's around this city. So
no, no, I definitely agree. And that's what I guess everyone needs to realize: are the Rockies really just here for an entertainment product, or are they something that we're going to put a product on the field that's going to contend for a division? First thing we've got to do is win the division. Somebody
mhm,
got to wrestle that away from the Dodgers.
mhm.
I think it's 11 straight now. I can't remember, but the Dodgers are just they just own this division. So, and
Well, they
some
have for the last
yeah,
3 years.
yeah. Well, even longer. I think it's been 10 or 11 years. I'm going to double check that, and I'll let you guys know. But I think it's been a pretty long time. If anybody's out there listening and they know how many consecutive years the Dodgers have won the West, let me know. So, but yeah, I mean that's the first goal is we need to be able to contend for our own division. The Colorado Rockies in their history have never won their division, so we got
And
to
that's
get
just
to
disappointing as a
a
Rockies fan. You never want to hear a stat like that, you know?
right. No, you don't. I mean, and it definitely is disappointing. And you want to, you want to be able to contend for your division because that's the first step in contending for a championship. I know they have the wild cards now, and it's still. I mean, it's hard for a team to go from a wild card all the way to a championship. It does happen, but yeah, it's a little more difficult. So, right,
Well, in talking about winning division, if you want to see if so, just like I was saying, if the owner only cares about filling the seats, win the division one time and watch that whole stadium fill up.
well, yeah, and I mean the Rockies Stadium. I mean Coors Field was used to be the top draw in Major League Baseball, and right now people here love baseball. You put a good product on the field, and people are going to show up.
Yeah,
And if Montfort wants to make money, then it's in his best interest to put the best product out there, and that includes the coaching staff.
right.
And if we don't have an adequate coaching staff that can develop these players, and keep them focused for a 162 game season, then it's time to move on. So
Well, and that's why I'm saying wipe the slate clean, because it's not just the coaching staff. It goes way deeper. It goes to the scouting department. It goes to the people who go and figure out what kind of players they want to get. And it's just the whole organization is in a disarray right now, and it's embarrassing. So,
oh, it definitely is. We might be the laughing stock of college baseball. So,
you mean pro baseball?
our pro baseball. I'm sorry. So, well, might as well be college, right?
All right.
So,
You probably couldn't even win in college, though.
yeah, a couple other things today. We're going for the sweep of the Padres. We've got Kyle Freeland, who's really struggled. Kyle Freeland, who's really struggled this year. He's 0-2 with a 9.0 ERA. He's
And
on the
that's ridiculous in itself. I don't
yeah,
know much about baseball, but I know a 9.0 ERA is not good.
yeah. So, and we'll address this question here in a minute. And the Padres have Blake Snell, who's 2-3 with 4.97 ERA as well. So 110 matchup. So they'll actually be starting here in about 40, 50 minutes, the game will. So catch your Rockies game, support them, guys. So, Brian Cashman, would you give up Trevor Story for Clint Frazier and one of our top pitching prospects or hitting prospects? I think I would probably make that move, but I would want a top pitching prospect. I think that's where we really need to focus on building the most is a pitching staff that's going to learn how to pitch at Coors Field because it can be done. I mean, we talked about it Monday, I think, with Gomber. I mean, Gomber's just dominating, no, it was yesterday we were talking about it. Gomber, I mean, at home has a sub-2 ERA,
Right.
so that's pretty good at somewhere that's supposed to be a hitter's ball field and gives up a lot of runs,
Yeah.
if you can force them into hitting ground balls and get strikeouts and have command of your pitches, you can be successful here. But
Mm-hmm.
again, I'm going to go back to a lot of this goes back to their development by the coaches. Are we just not developing our pitching staff and using them properly?
Right.
So, one other note from yesterday's game is Ryan McMahon had a home run, a triple, and a single yesterday. In his last at bat of the game, he was probably 2 or 3 feet away from it getting by the outfield, getting by the outfield and rolling to the wall, and it probably would have been his double, and so he would have batted for the cycle. I was surprised to learn this stat. There's only been 9 cycles in Colorado Rockies history. I would
Wow.
have thought there would have been more playing at this stadium. So
Yeah, considering it's a hitting park. So
yeah. So all right. So Rockies again 110. Go ahead and uh, check them out today. Hopefully they can get the sweep of the Padres. That would be nice. Padres are sort of reeling. They were up there battling for the division for a while, and they're sort of falling off a little bit. So I don't know exactly what's going on with that team, but they're sort of in a little mini slump right now. But you get those in baseball. It's a long season, so you don't panic at this point. All right, now we're going to get on to the NBA. We got some big stories that have coming out today.
mhm.
Kawhi Leonard. And I'm not sure if you've heard any more, Alex. He's definitely out for Game 5 and possibly
They're saying it's almost likely he'll be out for the rest of the season now, or the rest of the series.
rest of the series. Okay. I know they're calling it a right knee sprain right now. I don't know if they've done an MRI yet. So
And I kind of think
don't
it's
know.
like they want to wait and see how that Clippers team does without him. So obviously, if they play well in the upcoming games and they, don't look like they really need to rush him back until the next series, then they're going to keep him off the floor, make sure he gets healthy, and that way they can, go into the Western Conference Finals.
And that series right now is 2-2, correct?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. So do you think they can survive Utah without Kawhi?
It just depends on if Paul George is ready to step up to the plate. I know he's been playing well, but
Yeah,
that's also been alongside Kawhi Leonard. So if he can kind of take over the reins and be the old Paul George that we saw in Indiana and even a little bit with the Thunder, then I think that he should be. I mean, the Clippers should be fine, I think. And the Jazz are also missing a couple key players. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they've had a couple injury bugs as well. So I think it's very doable for the Clippers to move past Utah.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to just point this out. This is very good. And this is back to the Rockies really quick, and then we'll finish up with NBA. 22-14 at home and 5-27 on the road. You're not going to be competitive like that, and they need to figure it out. They need to figure out how to hit on the road, and that's always been one of the problems with the Rockies. When they go on the road, they have problems hitting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not so much their pitching that lets them down; it's their offense that lets them down. So Terrence Mann is more than likely going to get the call to fill in for Kawhi.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot
And
of
he's been
pressure,
playing well too.
and he has, but there's a lot of pressure on him.
Mm-hmm.
So if he can step up to that pressure, then I think that the Clippers can beat Utah. I know people are going to call me crazy. I don't think Utah is as good as their record really indicates that they are.
I think when fully healthy, they're the best team in the NBA. But that's the thing is that with such a short off season and playing basically 2 seasons back to back, everybody's fighting injuries. So
Right.
at this point, Utah is, getting it at the worst time.
Yeah.
So
So, and then next story that came out this morning, and why couldn't this have happened a week ago? CP3 is in COVID protocol now.
it wouldn't have
So
helped.
you don't know. You don't know. I
It
know
wouldn't
it
have
wouldn't
helped.
have, and shouldn't wish that on anybody, and hopefully, everything's okay. I don't know if it was just an exposure, and we're not going to speculate here. So when we get more information, then we'll update the situation. But he is out indefinitely, and I think that can really hurt the Suns team in going into the playoffs, and they're into the Western Conference Finals. And the reason I say that, that team is young,
Yeah.
and they need that leadership of CP3. So that
Well,
could
and another thing we have to look out to or look for is if he's been vaccinated, the protocol is shorter. So the window that he has to sit out is a little bit shorter. And if not, obviously he has to sit out the full 10 or 14 days. I don't know how long it is.
right.
So,
So yeah, and we'll get more information. We'll update it on our Facebook page with what's going on with Chris Paul. So, and then the other story is KD went off last night. And I know Kenny, and I believe Kenny and Kurt and those guys, I think they're all Knicks fans. I don't think they really care for the Nets too much. So,
Right.
so I want to get their thoughts on that. And your opinion, Alex, can KD carry this team while Harden's out? And who's the other
Kyrie
guy?
Irving.
Kyrie, yeah, Irving. Can he carry this team?
He'd be. I mean, if we had that question, it's gone now because what he did last night playing. Obviously, he's not going to play 48 minutes every night, but if he can be that efficient in shorter amount of times, then there's no question that he's arguably the best player in the NBA.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
So
So, I
for him
mean,
to carry that Brooklyn Nets team, yeah, I think there's plenty of talent surrounding him. Other than Kyrie and James Harden, they have Blake Griffin. They got a couple other big names there.
yeah, they have
So
some good role players on that team, and I think they can beat the Bucks. And I'm not sure who's going to come out of that Sixers and Hawks matchup. And do you know what that is right now?
I don't. I haven't
And,
been paying attention to the
yeah.
East.
So, and I don't either. So, but I think the Sixers would be more of a challenge for the Nets than I think the Hawks would be. So, but
And here's a hot take for you. I look for Giannis to be matched up with KD the entire game next time.
you think so?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So,
He's a first team all defensive player,
okay.
and if you want to stop Kevin Durant, that's going to be your best chance.
Yep. So, all right. Everybody tune in again tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to probably go a little early, maybe about 11:15 due to schedule conflict. So 11:15 to 11:45. So check us out. Alex and I love having you guys here interacting with us. That's what makes the show go. Kenny, you got to tip your hat to KD and the Nets, but the Bucks coach needs to double team KD, and I agree. So,
He'll double team him, and then he'll get 15 assists. So,
right,
dude can pass the ball just as well as he can shoot it.
right, but yeah, I mean, but I think that has to be their approach, maybe. So,
Mm-hmm.
I guess we're gonna find out. I wouldn't let KD kill me. You know, I would do what Kenny says. I'd be like, well, you know what? Guess what? I'm going to double team this guy, and if he kills me by dishing the rock to other people, and they take advantage and they beat me, then that's the way I'm going to go down.
See, I disagree. I think you let KD go ahead and do his thing, and you lock down every player surrounding him because that makes it more difficult. Even if he scores 47 points, I mean, that would. I mean,
yeah. So
it's 47 points. It's not going to win a ball game.
We'll have to see how the Bucks come out and how they handle it. So that'll be interesting. See how that wraps up. So again, like tomorrow, I said 11:15 Mountain Time for our show. Other than that, you got any parting shots, Alex?
Go Broncos. That's really it.
Yeah, go Broncos. Yeah, minicamp day 2's today, so we'll get more information coming out of that later today. So, yeah, and I agree here too. 49 points, you got to cut that down to 30 to 35. They can't let KD go crazy like that because
Right.
I think it's going to energize the rest of their team as well.
Yeah, I'm not saying leave him wide open every time, but I'm saying
Right.
if he gets 30 to 35 points, I would even say closer to 40, you would be all right.
Right. So, all right. But hey, again, everybody, thanks for joining Alex and I. Remember our sponsors. We got Stoked to Fire Barbecue Experts. You can order their product in line. So even you New Yorkers, you guys can jump online, order their product, and have it shipped to your house. All kinds of blends. They got seasonings, sauces, all that stuff. So go ahead and do your
I
shopping.
think I'm going to have to go out and give me some of that Wagyu.
Well, you better learn how to cook that brisket first before you go out and spend $180 on that thing. So,
you're right.
All right. And we appreciate this, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
We do it, to entertain you guys and to bring you guys some sporting news. So we thought it'd just be a fun thing to have a little quick lunch break and do this. So again, thanks everybody for tuning in. We love it. Oh, I want one thing, this thing right here that's on my face. I want to tell the story behind this thing. This thing is 163 days old now. January 3rd, the Broncos lost to the Oakland Raiders. January 4th, I made the declaration that this thing will not be touched until the Broncos make the playoffs.
I'm gonna hold you to that because it might not be this year. So you're gonna
It
have to
might
go.
not be, and I may be going. I
You're
may
gonna
look
walk
like,
around looking like Tom
I,
Hanks from Castaway.
dude. I might be ZZ Top pretty soon, man. So, so we'll see. Thanks a lot, Kenny. We appreciate it. I look forward to joining you guys on the K&K show, and hopefully soon we can get you and or Kurt onto our show, Kenny. So, but everybody have a great day. Be safe. Be kind to each other. And once again, go Colorado sports. And go Nets, all for all those Knicks fans out there.
Oh no.
All right, everyone. Have a great day.